Hey everyone, and welcome back to Read and Learn English. Today, I want to share a story that's really close to my heart. It's about my journey from struggling with English to finally speaking with confidence. And I believe my experience can help you too. Remember, on this channel, we focus on making English simple and fun, using stories and real-life examples to help you read, listen, write, and speak better. So, grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Frustration of Broken. English, when I was in my early 20s, I could understand some English, but honestly, not much. My vocabulary was super limited, and my accent was really strong. The biggest problem was I'd think in my native language first, then try to translate it word for word into English, and then speak. You can imagine the mess. People often had trouble understanding me, and in short, my English was pretty bad. I remember thinking, what kind of opportunities will I have if I can only speak this broken English with a heavy accent? This thought really pushed me to start looking for ways to improve my English fluency. One day, I saw an ad on TV for an English expert. Let's call him Professor Lexicon. He promised amazing results. He guaranteed that if you were just starting to learn English and took his lessons for a year, your English would be more fluent than people who had studied. For 10 years, I thought, wow, that sounds incredible. But there was a catch. Professor Lexicon only offered private one-on-one lessons, and I simply didn't have the money for it. A private lesson was pretty expensive back. Then I kept wondering what his secret was, what he did to get such amazing results. But I didn't call him, thinking he wouldn't share his methods anyway. Then a thought hit me. If he can find a way to do it, I can find a way to do it too. That was my turning point. Section 1. The Quest for a Solution. So, I started my own research right from the library. I began reading books on English. Fluency. I specifically chose books written by native English speakers because I believed I should learn from the best. Of course, there were tons of words I didn't know, but I'd always look them up in the dictionary. After reading about 10 books, I summarized all the strategies I found into a list of these. These strategies were pretty common. Listen, listen, listen. Read, read, read. Use what you've learned, build your vocabulary, and so on. I tried applying these methods, and I did start to understand English a little better. But here's the thing. These strategies didn't really help me speak any better. I kept reading more books, always from native speakers, and they all pretty much said the same things. I read about 60 books in total, all by native speakers, and the strategies were still the same and still, for me, ineffective for speaking. Section 2. A New Approach. Learning from non-native success stories. Feeling a bit stuck. I decided to try a completely different approach. Instead of reading books by native speakers, this time I focused on books written by successful non-native English speakers, people who had actually learned English as a second language and become fluent. I picked up about 10 of these books. To my surprise, most of them shared the same advice as the books by native speakers, except for one crucial thing. Repeat what you hear, again and again. This simple yet powerful idea wasn't mentioned in any of the 60 books I'd read by native speakers. Among all the books, there was one unexpected gem that wasn't about English, fluency at all. It was about how to become successful, written by a motivational guru. I almost didn't pick it up, but at the last moment, I decided to just take a peek. And wow, it turned out to be an amazing book on setting goals and achieving success. I combined the insights from this success book with the key strategy from the successful non-native English speakers. This blend led me to create my own unique strategy, which I later called my Fluent English Formula. Chapter 2. The Fluent English Formula in action. With my new Fluent English Formula in hand, I was ready to take action. This formula has 3 simple steps. Step 1, set your goal. Step 2, take action. And Step 3, follow through. Section 1. Step 1, setting your goal. Speaking English like a native setting, your goal is all about deciding exactly what you want. For me, it was crystal clear. I wanted to speak English fluently, ideally like a native speaker. The clearer your goal, the more precisely your brain can work towards it. Once I had that target in my mind, I knew exactly where I was going. It's like setting a target for shooting an arrow. You need to know where you're aiming before you even pick up the bow. This clear target became my guiding star. It didn't matter if I only had spare time to work on it. Having that target made every little effort count. Section 2. Step 2. Taking action. The daily grind once your target is set, it's time to actually do something. It doesn't matter how much potential you have or how many resources are available. What truly matters is what you will do. At 20, I didn't have money for private lessons, and I didn't have a lot of free time for studying. But I realized that even with these limitations, if I took some action, I would still achieve fluency. And that's exactly what happened. It's not about what we can do, but what we will do. That truly makes things happen. My actions got me exactly what I wanted. My daily commute became my secret weapon. I was living in the city and took the subway to and from work every day. The train ride was about 40 minutes each way. Then there was a 12-minute walk to the station from home and a 5-minute walk from the station to work. Altogether, my round trip was almost 2 hours every day. This was my perfect opportunity. I started carrying my old Walkman with me. Normally, I'd listen to music or regular English lessons. But with my new strategy, I used it to repeat what you hear, again and again. I tuned in to a news station like NPR. It worked great during my 12-minute walk, too. But once I got inside the subway station, the signal would disappear. So when I got home at night, I'd record the news onto a tape for the next day's commute. Every night, I recorded fresh news. I started by whispering the news as I repeated it, but then I started saying it louder. New York subway trains are incredibly noisy, like thunder. This noise was actually perfect because no one sitting next to me could hear what I was saying. So I could practice loudly during the entire train ride, both ways. In the beginning, there were so many words I didn't understand, and the news was really fast. But I just repeated what I heard anyway, even if I couldn't catch up. If there was a word or phrase I couldn't say, I'd rewind the tape and listen again. If I still couldn't say it, I'd rewind again and listen until I could. Then I'd repeat that word or phrase over and over. Once, twice, 3 times until I could say it correctly. This helped so much. The next time I heard that same word or phrase, I could say it correctly without a problem. Section 3. Step 3, following through. The power of consistency once you've decided on your goal and started taking action. The final step is to keep working on it, to follow through until you succeed. Becoming fluent in English isn't a one-day job. It's about consistent action, little by little, day by day. Think about lifting weights. You can't lift 300 pounds on day 1, but you can lift 3 pounds. And if you keep adding a little bit of weight every day, eventually what seemed impossible will become possible. Your muscles will build up, and soon you'll effortlessly lift that 300 pounds. That's exactly how my English journey unfolded. I started with one small action. The next day, I took another play. I kept taking the same consistent action every single day. After just 3 months, I had built enough fluency that people actually started telling me my English was good. I decided to record myself speaking to see my progress. I wrote down some everyday conversational phrases and recorded my voice. To my surprise, I was speaking what I wrote pretty fluently. I still had an accent, but it was much lighter compared to other English learners. My English was clearly getting better, and I was so excited by the results. I made a small adjustment to my routine. Instead of recording fresh news every night, I started recording the news just once a week. This meant I listened to and practiced the exact same English from native speakers for a whole week at the beginning of the week. There was always something I couldn't quite say, but by the end of the week, I had mastered everything on the whole tape. I could almost recite everything, including the words, sentences, tones, and flow. The next week, I'd record a new tape and do the same thing. I kept this up for a month, mastering for 60-minute tapes of English, all taught by native speakers. That's 240 minutes of pure English practice. In week 5, I went back to practice the previous 4 weeks' English. 1 tape per day, focusing on the ones I had the hardest time with. 3 months later, I recorded my speaking. Again, the results were truly surprising. My accent was gone, my voice was clear. My pronunciation was correct, and my flow was smooth. In other words, my English was fluent. It had only been 6 months of consistent practice, but the outcome was incredible. I remember talking to a friend on the phone, and they suddenly asked, "What did you do?" "Your English is so good." I could hear the sincerity in their voice. They were truly impressed. Even 2 of my cousins, who are native speakers, asked, "How come your English is so good, but your brothers and sisters aren't?" This was solid proof that my formula was working. Chapter 3. The Open Throat Secret. Speaking with a native sound, I didn't stop there. For months and years, I kept using my fluent English formula whenever I had the chance, even as my life situation changed. Years later, I discovered another powerful strategy that I call open throat. When I use this open throat strategy, my English sounds absolutely 100% native. Section 1. The power of an open throat. What exactly is open throat? Think about how professional singers sing. They don't sing with a chicken throat, a tight, strained throat that makes the voice sound weak and unnatural. Instead, they open their throat, bring the energies from their diaphragm and stomach, and let the air flow freely. This energy, flow, and way of speaking make a huge difference. It's the same for speaking English. You need to open your throat, let the air flow through, and speak with energy from your stomach. You should actually feel your stomach tighten when you talk. Bring that energy up from deep within your stomach. Let the air flow from your lungs through your open throat and speak. Have you ever felt too nervous or shy to speak English? Do you feel like you're using a chicken throat because you're afraid of making mistakes or that others might laugh at you? Listen to me. English is a foreign language for you. Making mistakes when speaking a foreign language is completely normal. Instead of being shy, open your throat to speak English. Section 2. A real-life example. Surprising a teacher, I remember. An amazing moment when my son was in first grade. He invited me to read to his class as a guest reader. His teacher looked a little upset because I guess she thought I couldn't speak English, which she probably thought would be a disaster for her class. However, She was absolutely stunned when I started to speak. I saw her eyes widen for about 5 seconds, followed by a long smile. She quietly watched as I enthusiastically inspired her students to enjoy the book, speaking in 100% native English. Then she suddenly whipped out her camera and started taking pictures, even interrupting me to ask if she could put a picture in her class newsletter. Later, she asked if I could come back and participate more in her class activities. It was a truly rewarding experience, all thanks to consistent practice and the open throat strategy. Chapter 4, Practice, Practice, Practice. The one-word secret to fluency. Now that, my fluent English formula set. Your goal. Take action. Follow through. It's time to reveal the one-word secret that ties it all together. Practice. Think about learning Kung Fu. You can watch all the movies and instructional videos, see how masters beat 10 people, and know all the skills you need. But if you're facing 10 people right now, can you beat them just by knowing how? Of course not. To beat them, you have to practice your Kung Fu. You need to build your muscles, harden your fists, stretch your legs, and aim your kicks. You need to get your mind mentally ready and your body physically ready. The same goes for English. Just knowing how to speak won't make you fluent. You have to practice speaking English, literally, over and over again. You need to open your throat, relax your tongue, loosen your muscles, and control your flow. You need your mind mentally ready and your body physically ready too. Speak English like a native. And to do that, you need to practice. The great news is there are so many places where you can practice, and I highly recommend you use all of them whenever possible. Section 1. Practice on your commute. Train, bus, car on the train. If you take the train to work, that's fantastic. I hope your train is loud so you can follow my exact footsteps. If it's too quiet, people might look at you a little strangely. When I practiced on the train, I'd find a corner seat. You can do the same. The key is to speak out loud, not whisper. Whispering will give you a different result than what you want because it won't fully engage your throat or diaphragm. In this digital age, you're super lucky. You can put on your headphones and practice right on your phone, just like you're on a phone call. The person next to you will probably just think you're talking to someone on the phone. On the bus, if you take the bus, that's also great. Buses usually aren't as loud as trains, so it's better for your hearing. Still, try to speak normally, not whisper. Whispering only trains your tongue and lips, not your throat. Diaphragm, stomach, tone, volume, or airflow, all of which are crucial for fluency. Remember, to be truly fluent, you need to practice in places where you can speak out loud. In the car, this was by far my favorite place to practice English. There's so much freedom in the car. You can go full throttle when practicing. When I finally had a car, I practiced everything I heard. Since cars are much quieter than trains, and there was no one sitting next to me, I'd turn up the volume and follow along, with the exact same tones, volumes, flow, speed, and expressions, everything. Plus, I could use my hands to help express my feelings. I always kept the windows closed so people on the street couldn't hear me. Sometimes I'd see people looking at me, confused, but today they'd just think, you're talking on your phone. So, in the car, just follow along with the exact same tones, volumes, flow, speed, and expressions at full speed. Just make sure you're focusing on driving safely, not just speaking. Section 2. Practice at home and during activities at home. Do you cook at home? I certainly do. I started cooking for my family when I was 7, so I'm pretty good at it. I even taught my wife how to cook since she'd never cooked before we got married. For me, cooking usually takes about 10 minutes for breakfast and 40 minutes for dinner. That's 50 minutes a day. While you're cooking, your brain is free, and it's a perfect time to practice. It's a great opportunity to put on your headphones and get some practice in. Outdoor activities like running, jogging, walking, hiking, and even shopping can also be fantastic. Opportunities for practicing your English. At work, I used to work at a big company, where I often worked in the factory that built airplanes. The factory was really noisy, and everyone had to wear earplugs. In the assembly areas, I saw this as an excellent opportunity to practice. I put on my noise-canceling headphones and practiced as loud as I wanted, and no one could hear me. Is your workplace a good place to practice? Think about how many hours you work a day. If you can use your work hours wisely, you can skyrocket your results. Chapter 5. Choosing your materials wisely. The accent and content dilemma carefully. Choosing the right materials is absolutely key to your success in learning English. The materials you pick will determine whether you speak good English, bad English, correct English, or even wrong English. Section 1. Pick one accent and stick with it. This is super important. The pronunciations of British English and American English are different. If you want to speak like a native, you need to decide which native. You can't mix the two accents. If you want to speak like a native, you must pick only one to learn. Either one is fine, but you have to choose. 1. Stick with it and leave the other. One alone for now. Once you speak one like a native, then you can go back and learn the other. In other words, if you want to learn to speak British English like a native, choose all your materials in British English. Likewise, if you want to speak American English like a native, pick all your materials in American English. Pick one, language, British or American, and stick with it. It's like choosing a boat. Each boat goes to a different destination, but you can only sit on one at a time. So pick a boat and get on it. You want to speak English like a native, right? Listen to the experts. Pick one. You can understand the other perfectly. Well, but to speak like a native, you must pick one and only one. Remember what Bruce Lee said. Focus. If you're unfocused, your laser beam isn't strong enough to melt snow. But if you're focused, your laser beam is strong enough to cut through steel. Take 3 seconds to think about which accent you want to learn, and then commit to it. Section 2. Choose real life. Native spoken. Materials. Now that you've chosen your accent, it's time to choose the right materials. Think of it this way. If you choose materials where someone is speaking native English, you'll learn to speak native English. If you choose materials where someone is speaking incorrect English, you'll learn to speak incorrect English. If you choose materials where native speakers are speaking English in real life situations, you'll learn to speak real life English. If you choose materials where native speakers are speaking English in unrealistic situations, you'll learn to speak unrealistic English. I remember listening to an old recorded lesson where a friend was introducing one friend to another. The conversation went something like this. Mr. Miller, this is Mr. Smith. John Smith. Mr. Smith, this is Mr. Miller, David Miller. How do you do? It's my pleasure to meet you. Me too. While this conversation was grammatically correct and spoken by native English speakers, it was wrong. Very wrong. Native English speakers just don't talk. Like that, it makes people feel awkward and uncomfortable, and the atmosphere becomes stiff. Essentially, that conversation would be completely unnatural in the real world. In reality, a conversation like that would be more like, "Hey Sarah, meet Tom." "How's it going, Tom?" "How's it going, Sarah? Notice the how's it going instead of the formal how do." You do? This is the actual casual, informal conversation native speakers use when meeting new people, and it's much more comfortable. So, if you have English textbooks or recordings that aren't performed by native speakers or don't feature real-life situations, put them away. Choose something that people actually use. Look for materials that are performed only by native speakers. Naturally spoken, in real-life situations, all in one accent, British English or American English. Again, learn one language and only one language. Either one is fine. Section 3, your learning tools. Smart choices when I practiced my English. I didn't spend a single penny. I just used my Walkman and a cheap pair of headphones that I already had. Today, you're super lucky. You can use your smartphone and a cheap pair of headphones. If you drive a car, you can even connect your phone via Bluetooth and use your car's speakers. If you don't have a smartphone, an MP3 player or other playing devices work just fine. When I practiced on those noisy subway trains, I had to turn the volume all the way up to 10. That was the highest. Setting on my Walkman. In noisy areas, a good pair of noise. Canceling headphones is a smart choice because turning the volume up to high can actually damage your hearing. There are two great technologies available today: over-the-ear noise canceling, headphones, and in-ear isolation. Headphones, either one will help you focus on your practice without damaging your ears. Chapter 6, the My Fluent English Formula, your roadmap to success. We've talked about a lot of strategies, but let's summarize them into the simple, powerful My Fluent English formula. This formula has 3 key steps that I followed, and you can too, to achieve amazing results in your English journey. Section 1. Step 1. Set your goal. Clarity is power. The very first step in My Fluent English formula is to set your goal. This means deciding exactly what you want. You've already done part of this by being here, thinking about improving your English. You are clear that your goal is to speak English like a native, or at least speak it fluently. The word decide actually comes from Greek and means to cut off from. Once you decide what you want, that's it. You cut off all other possibilities and focus only on your chosen path. Deciding what you want is like setting a target for you to aim at. Clarity is power. The clearer you are on what you want, the more precisely your brain will guide you towards your target. You absolutely must know what you want so you know exactly where to go. When I used my formula, I decided I wanted to speak fluent English. With that target set, I started working towards it, even if it was just in my spare time. But because I had a clear target in sight, I knew exactly where to aim and where to go. If you decide to speak fluent English, go for it. If you decide to speak English like a native, go for it. These are very clear. Targets. Once you've decided exactly what you want, it's critical that you keep focusing on your target. The key word here is focusing. You haven't shot any arrows yet. This step is just about setting your target in place. Section 2. Step 2. Take action. Do something today. Once your target is set, you need to take action. It's like taking out your bow and arrows and actually shooting at your target. To get what you want, you have to do something. It doesn't matter what we can do. It only matters what we will do. Consider this. I could have a university degree, live in a free society where anything is possible, and have lots of potential. With all that power, I could do many things. But if I don't do anything, nothing will happen. On the other hand, if I spoke broken English, had no money for private lessons, and very little time to learn, I might feel restricted. But if I will do something, even small, things to speak fluent English, I will still achieve some fluency. In fact, despite all my restrictions, I did something, and it helped me speak English like a native. It's not our capabilities that make things happen. It's what we will do. When I was 20, I knew I wanted to speak fluent English, and I took action. I got excellent results because my actions led me exactly to what I wanted. So, literally, get going to get what you want. Section 3. Step 3, follow through. Building fluency day by day, the final step, is to follow through. Once you've decided what you want and you're taking action, you must keep working on it. Follow through until you succeed. Making you speak English like a native isn't a job that takes just one day. You need to keep taking action, day by day, to get there. Start small and keep building your fluency little by little, day by day. Let's use that weightlifting example. Again, if you want to lift 300 pounds, can you do it today? Probably not. But can you lift 3 pounds? Yes, you can. Start by lifting 3 pounds every day and gradually increase the weight little by little. Before you know it, what seemed impossible will be possible. You'll have built enough muscle to effortlessly lift 300 pounds. That's precisely how I improved my English. I started by taking one single action. The next day, I took one more. I kept taking the same action day by day. After just 3 months, I had already built enough fluency that people were telling me my English was good. I followed through by building my fluency, little by little, day by day. After another 3 months, I started to speak what seemed impossible before. Fluent English. Imagine if you build your fluency by just 1% a day and keep building on it. Imagine what your fluency will be like 6 months later. You could have built enough fluency to speak English in a way that seemed impossible before. So, to review the My Fluent English formula. Step 1, set your goal. Step 2, take action. Step 3, follow through. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Are you ready for your English adventure? Chapter 7, integrating English into your life. Beyond formal study, many people think learning English means sitting in a classroom or poring over textbooks for hours. While those can be helpful, the real magic happens when you integrate English into your daily life. It's about finding opportunities to practice and interact with the language in ways that feel natural and even fun. This isn't about adding extra stress. It's about making English a part of what you already do. Section 1. Make English your background. Music, think about how much time you spend listening to music, watching TV, or just having background noise in your life. You can turn this into valuable English. Practice music. Switch your music playlist to English songs. Try to understand the lyrics. Sing along. This is great for pronunciation and rhythm. Podcasts and audiobooks. Instead of listening to podcasts or audiobooks in your native language during your commute, while cooking, or at the gym, switch to English ones. You can find podcasts on almost any topic, from daily news to storytelling to hobbies. This is passive listening that builds up your understanding. TV shows and movies. Start watching your favorite shows and movies in English. If you're a beginner, use English subtitles. Crucially, use English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language. This helps you connect the spoken word with the written word. As you get more comfortable, try turning off the subtitles altogether. You'll be amazed at how much you start to understand just by listening and observing. Section 2. Read what you love. Write what you think. Reading and writing are often overlooked in the pursuit of speaking. But They are crucial for building a strong foundation and for developing that. Thinking in English muscle. Read for fun. Don't just read textbooks. Read things you genuinely enjoy in English. This could be short stories, blog posts about your hobbies, news articles, or even social media posts. The goal isn't to understand every single word, but to grasp the main idea and enjoy the process. When you encounter a new word, try to guess its meaning from the context before immediately looking it up. Keep a simple English journal. This is a powerful tool for converting your thoughts into written English. Each day, write a few sentences about your day, your feelings, your plans, or anything that comes to mind, even short. Simple sentences like, today was sunny. I went for a walk. I saw a cute dog. Will help you solidify your English thoughts. Write online. If you use social media, try writing your posts or comments in English. This gives you a low-pressure way to practice writing and perhaps get some real-time feedback. Section 3. Leverage technology for a constant exposure. We live in a world where English is everywhere, thanks to technology. Make it work for you. Change your device language. Set your phone, computer, and tablet language too. English, you already know how to navigate these devices, so you'll learn new vocabulary for common actions and settings effortlessly. Follow English accounts on social media. Follow accounts that post in English, especially those related to your interests. This keeps English content flowing into your daily feed in an engaging way. Use language learning apps. While the core of my formula is active practice, apps can supplement your learning, especially for vocabulary and grammar exercises. Use them to reinforce what you're learning. Chapter 8. The mindset of a fluent English speaker. Beyond techniques, learning a language isn't just about techniques and drills. It's also about developing the right mindset. Your attitude towards learning and your willingness to embrace challenges play a massive role in your success. Becoming a fluent English speaker involves letting go of perfectionism and embracing the journey. Section 1. Embrace mistakes as learning. Opportunities, one of the biggest fears that stops English learners from speaking, is the fear of making mistakes. But here's the absolute truth. Every single person who learns a new language makes mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes in their own language sometimes. Think of mistakes as stepping stones, not roadblocks. Each mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. If you say, yesterday I go to the store, instead of yesterday I went to the store, people will still understand you. The important thing is that you communicated your message. Don't be afraid to sound less than perfect. Focus on being understood and let go of the need for perfection. The more you speak, the fewer mistakes you'll make over time naturally. Section 2. Cultivate patience and persistence. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, like building a strong muscle. You wouldn't expect to lift 300 pounds after one workout, right? It takes consistent effort over time. There will be days when you feel frustrated, when words don't come easily, or when you feel like you're not making progress. These moments are completely normal. The key is to be patient with yourself and to keep going. Consistency truly is more important than intensity. Even just 15 to 20 minutes of daily practice is far more effective than cramming for hours once a week. Section 3. Celebrate small victories along the way to stay motivated on your long English learning journey. It's crucial to celebrate your small wins. Don't wait until you're perfectly fluent to acknowledge your progress. Did you understand a full sentence in a movie without subtitles today? That's a win. Did you use a new vocabulary? Word correctly in a conversation? Celebrate it. Did you manage to express a complex idea, even if it took you a few tries? Fantastic. These small victories add up and reinforce the idea that your efforts are paying off. Reward yourself with something small that you enjoy, or simply take a moment to acknowledge your achievement. This positive reinforcement fuels your motivation and helps you stay on track. Section 4, connect with others when you're ready. While my formula emphasizes self-practice, connecting with other English speakers, even online, can be incredibly motivating once you feel a bit more confident. Online communities. Join online forums or social media groups for English learners. You can share your progress, ask questions, and even find practice. Partners, language exchange apps that connect. You with native speakers who want to learn your language can be a great way too. Practice real conversations in a supportive environment. Don't rush it if you're shy or nervous. It's okay to build your confidence with self-practice first. The goal is to make speaking comfortable and enjoyable, not a source of stress. Chapter 9. Practical daily exercises for your fluent English formula. Now that you understand the My Fluent English formula and the right mindset, let's get into some specific, easy-to-do daily exercises that you can incorporate into your routine. These are practical steps that will help you put the practice. Secret into action. Section 1. Morning boost. Start your day. In English self-talk shower, when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, try to describe your plans for the day in English. While you're in the shower, narrate your actions silently, or even whisper them. I'm washing my hair. The water is warm. I need to remember to buy shampoo later. This immediately switches your brain into English mode. Breakfast commentary. As you make or eat. Breakfast, describe the food, the actions you're performing, or even your thoughts. About the meal, I'm pouring milk into my cereal. This coffee smells good. I'm excited for the day. News in English. Instead of your usual morning news in your native language, try listening to a short English news podcast or watching a quick news segment in English. Don't worry about understanding every single word. Just try to catch the main ideas. Section 2. Commute or travel. Your portable language lab. We already talked about the amazing opportunities of your commute, but let's dive deeper into how to maximize them. Shadowing with purpose. Load up an English podcast, audiobook, or even a YouTube video. Audio only is fine for safety. Listen to a sentence, then immediately repeat it, trying to match the speakers. Rhythm, intonation, and speed. Don't just parrot the words. Try to feel the flow of the sentence. Rewind and repeat challenging phrases. Mental storytelling. Look out the window. During your commute, create short stories in your head about the people you see or the places you pass. That person is wearing a red hat. Maybe they are going to a party. The building on the left looks very old. What if scenarios? Think of every day. Situations and mentally role-play them in. English. What if I needed to ask for directions? Right now? What if I ran into an old friend? Practice the dialogue in your head, or quietly speak it if you're in a private space, like your car. Section 3. Midday moments. Quick English. Bursts, lunch break listening. While you eat lunch, put on an English conversation, podcast, or a segment of a show you enjoy. Again, focus on immersion. Describe your workspace environment. Look around your office, home, or wherever you are. Mentally describe everything you see in English. This is my desk. It has a computer, a lamp, and some papers. The chair is comfortable. Short English, texts, emails, if possible. Try sending short texts or emails in English to a friend or colleague who is also learning. English, even a quick "how are you?" Hope you have a good day. Help Section 4 Evening Wind Down. Reflect and reinforce English journaling before bed. Take a few minutes to write in your English journal. Reflect on your day, your feelings, or what you learned. This helps consolidate new vocabulary and grammar. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Just get your thoughts down, story time your way. Read an English story, either a simplified reader or an actual book. If you're feeling adventurous, try reading a page aloud to yourself, or listen to an English audiobook as you drift off to sleep. This is great for passive absorption. Review new words. Take 5 minutes to review any new vocabulary words you encountered during the day using your flashcards or a vocabulary app. Spaced repetition is key here to make sure they stick. Section 5, the open throat. Warm up and practice before any dedicated speaking practice. Remember the open throat technique. Deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths. Focusing on breathing from your diaphragm, your stomach area should expand, not just your chest. Hum a simple tune, feeling the vibration in your chest and throat. Keep your throat open and relaxed. Vowel sounds. Practice saying long vowel sounds. A, E, U with an open, relaxed throat, bringing the sound from your stomach. Exaggerate key sounds. If there are specific English sounds that are difficult for you, like R or a certain vowel sounds, practice them slowly and exaggerate the mouth movements. Record yourself and compare it to a native speaker. By integrating these practical exercises into your daily life, you're not just studying English, you're living in English. And that, my friends, is the fastest way to achieve true fluency and confidence. Chapter 10, Your Continued Journey. Beyond fluency, reaching fluency in English is a fantastic accomplishment. But learning a language is an ongoing journey. There's always more to discover, new nuances to understand, and different ways to express yourself. This final chapter is about maintaining your fluency, continuing to grow, and truly making English a part of your identity. Section 1. Keep that fluent English. Formula alive. The 3 steps of my fluent English formula aren't just for getting fluent, they're for staying fluent. And even improving further, reevaluate your goals. Maybe your initial goal was to speak fluently for travel. Now, perhaps you want to use English professionally or read classic English, literature, or even teach English yourself. Setting new, higher goals will keep you motivated and give your practice. Direction. Consistent action always. Even if you're fluent, daily exposure and practice are vital. Continue with your self-talk, shadowing, reading, and listening. Fluency is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you might lose some of its strength. Follow through with new challenges. Don't get complacent. Challenge yourself with more complex materials. Join a debate club, or even try writing a short story or a poem in English. Push your boundaries. Section 2. Explore the richness of English. Culture, language, and culture are deeply intertwined. As you become more fluent, exploring English-speaking cultures can enhance your understanding and appreciation of the language. Read diverse authors. Dive into books by authors from different English-speaking countries: American, British, Canadian, Australian, etc. This exposes you to different writing styles, dialects, and cultural perspectives. Watch documentaries and historical films. Learn about the history, art, and society of English-speaking nations. This provides context for idioms, historical references, and cultural nuances. Engage with online communities. Participate in discussions about topics you care about in English. This could be forums about your hobbies, video game communities, or fan groups for your favorite shows. Real-time interaction helps you understand current slang and everyday conversation. Section 3. Give back, help others learn. One of the best ways to solidify your own knowledge is to share it. If you've reached a good level of fluency, consider helping others who are just starting there. English journey? Become a language partner. Find someone who wants to learn English and exchange language practice with them. Explaining grammar rules or clarifying vocabulary for someone else can actually deepen your own understanding. Create content. If you enjoy it, you could even create your own short English stories or lessons, perhaps even on a platform like my Read and Learn English channel. Teaching requires you to articulate your knowledge clearly and naturally, which in turn reinforces your own fluency. Be a mentor. Offer advice and encouragement to other learners. Sharing your struggle and success story can inspire others and remind you of how far you've come. Section 4. Embrace the lifelong learner. Mindset learning English isn't a race with a finish line. It's a lifelong adventure. The language is constantly evolving, with new words being added and expressions changing. Embracing this continuous learning mindset will keep your English fresh and vibrant. Stay curious. Always be on the lookout for new words, interesting expressions, and different accents. Don't be afraid to ask, what does that mean, or how is that used? Travel, if possible, if you have the opportunity. Immerse yourself in an English-speaking country. This is the ultimate way to experience the language and culture firsthand. Enjoy the process, most importantly. Continue to enjoy the process of learning and using English. When it's fun, it never feels like work. You have all the tools and strategies you need right here in this story. My journey from broken English to fluent speaking wasn't magic. It was about consistent practice, smart choices, and a belief that I could do it. You can absolutely do it too. If you've enjoyed this story and found these tips helpful, please make sure to subscribe to Read and Learn English. I'm always creating new stories and practical lessons to help you on your English journey. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's your biggest English learning goal right now? What kind of stories or lessons would you like to see next? Your feedback helps me make this channel the best it can be for all of you. Thanks for being here, and keep practicing.